Beautiful.
Chat with Rosie Jacobson, vocalist for In Eyes, who recently released their latest single, Time Won't Wait. Rosie, thanks for having a chat with me and Crannk. I really appreciate it. I know you're fairly
Yeah,
busy.
no worries. I'm
Um,
keen.
First off, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? Who are In Eyes?
Yep, so In Eyes currently in our current form is myself, Dylan Quigg, my guitarist, and Kris Unwin, my drummer. But we've been around since 2014 and we've gone through a bunch of member changes since then. But our nice little three-piece family is how we are now, and I think how we'll stay.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, a little bit of a reincarnation through 2018 up until
We
2019
did.
now with the track Silver Lining, which is really cool. Can you tell me a little bit about how you guys formed?
Yeah, so I used to play in a band called Here's to Neverland back in the day. That started in 2012 and ran till late 2014. Me and the bass player of that band, once the band broke up, decided, you know what, we still love playing in bands and we want to take our sound into the heavier sort of side of things. So he and I started In Eyes, and then we eventually found all our members. From there, we did some Facebook advertising, got some friends in to play for us. And then the way that it is now, I met Kris through uni. We just graduated together literally on Saturday. It's like my best friend in the whole world. And yeah, now it's just the three of us, and that's pretty much it.
Congratulations on getting through uni. Good on
Thank you. Thanks.
Cool. Who are some of the people that have helped inspire and influence you so far musically?
Oh, I mean, me personally, I mean, stock standard answer, I think, for any female in this genre is Hayley Williams of Paramore. But she just started everything for me back in like 2009. I'd like sort of discovered her, and everything in my life kind of started to mirror hers, which was crazy. Like when Paramore started losing members, I started losing members, and then she was going through things at the same time I was going through things. So she's always been my biggest inspiration personally. But in terms of In Eyes, Hands Like Houses, Dream State, North Lane. We want to be North Lane so bad, and we're just like, I'm wearing a North Lane shirt right now. Like, we want to be North Lane so bad, but we're just not good enough. But it's a lot of like Australian heavy bands, I think, that inspire us the most.
Yeah, and you've got a pretty solid scene because you're up in the Gold Coast, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you got
37 degrees today.
Yeah, I know. I'm down in South Australia, so it's going to be
Yeah.
as well next week.
Yeah.
Go out to all the firefighters, battling fires, all that.
Totally.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can I ask you when you first music?
When I first got into heavy music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a cassette tape when I was like country music. This was when I was like 5. I was listening to like country music, and then I got into like Nikki Webster and then the Veronicas, and then I had a cassette tape that had Linkin Park on one side and it had Alien Ant Farm on the other side, and it was like all we would play like in the car, like mum's car. We would like just have it and scream like that Smooth Criminal cover that they did in like the late 90s or whatever, like and that was it. And then everything since then has basically just formed out of that. Like those are still some of my favorite records ever.
Yeah, and with the tape decks, were you guilty of like grabbing mum and dad's tapes and recording over them, sticking a little bit of tape on there?
Luckily I was not, because my parents were lovely. Go to like Crazy Clark's, which I don't even think is around anymore, and buy like stacks of blank tapes, like just to make us our favorite music. And they would sit there and like record off the radio and stuff. Like when the songs would come on, they would like record it just so we had those songs, and it would like start at a random time and then like end at a random time. It was so good. Love it.
Exactly. I was very guilty of it here. That mum should have bought me a heap of tapes, and I probably wouldn't have recorded over your John Farnham and Sting tapes.
Literally.
So, can you tell us how into becoming the vocalist and singer you are? How did you first get into singing and performing and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. I actually realized I could. My whole family's musical. My uncle's like a very accomplished guitar player. My brother's an accomplished guitar player. My dad and my mum can carry a tune, and my grandma can carry a tune. So we're all very musical. I didn't realize I really was until I was about 8, and I started singing like randomly at school. And one of my teachers was like, "You should go out for choir." And I was like, okay. So then I joined the school choir, and I kept getting solos, and I was like, why am I the only one getting solos? It's like, what's going on? Like, give someone else a chance. And then I realized, like, once I started listening to like Nikki Webster and singing her songs at home and everything, I started really getting into like actually singing like properly. So I went and did lessons for a bit when I was like 10, hated it. I went to like opera training, and I was like, it didn't feel like me. Even when I was like 10, I was like, no, this isn't right. And then I eventually just kept singing, never had another lesson, joined a band after Paramore when I was like in 2009, started a rock band, and then I've been playing in rock bands for 10 years. So.
Yeah, and you do have an amazing voice, so I'm glad you're singing it. And I look forward to where it goes.
Thanks.
We were mentioning the latest single, Time Won't Wait, is the single from you guys. Can you tell me first what that single means for you, and then what the inspiration for that single was?
For sure. Well, for me, I'm susceptible to anxiety a lot. I get pretty bad anxiety and nerves basically it got to a point where it was around any time I would have to leave the house or like anything like that. I just couldn't do it. And I've, I think we've all had our struggles with mental health and mental issues and all that kind of stuff. And Time Won't Wait sort of came when I was on tour in like 2014. Someone told me that if I wasn't signed by the time I was 25, I was never going to make it. And that, I know that it's like bullshit, but that kind of like stuck with me a little bit, because if someone in the industry tells you that, you kind of go, oh, this is the industry. And, I was young and naive and I didn't know any better. And that always just kind of stuck with me. And I was approaching my 25th birthday and I still hadn't been signed. And I was like, I've been doing this for 10 years and like nothing's come of it. And it's been one step forward and two steps back every single time and everything. And I just thought, you know what, time's not going to wait. Like, you just have to start doing things.
Yep.
And just accept that you have to do them and start doing them. So I wrote Time Won't Wait, and hopefully people can like take that message of time will not wait for you, and then realize that, and then go out and do the things that they have to do.
Yeah, I certainly dug it. It's a cool track, and I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I'm 39 now, and I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing, talking to talented people like myself. For me, it was something I always wanted to do, and it come across a couple of years ago. And exactly like you said in your song, time won't wait. Just get out there and get amongst it, do what you love. And you guys are artists. You got to create. So at the end of the day, for you being a singer, you're an artist. You got to create, and you got to put your art out there into the world. So
yeah, exactly. And it's the only thing I'm good at, so I better do well at it, or I'll just sit at home all day and watch RuPaul's Drag Race in my bed.
I'm sure there's a lot more you're good at. No worries. Can I ask you who recorded and produced this single? Who are you working with for it?
Yeah, totally. We actually are lucky enough, because Kris and I went through Griffith University Bachelor of Popular Music. We ended up befriending Jared Adlam, who mixed it, who I've known forever. He did like the His to Neverland record as well. Like, I've known Jared for ages. He's wonderful at what he does. Fantastic. Could not recommend him higher. And Sam Vallon, who was he plays guitar in Caligula's Horse. He engineered the record for us down at Studio Circuit in Burleigh with Dale Princey from Caligula's Horse, Opus of a Machine, and Justin Vincent, who runs down at Studio Circuit. And that like conglomerate of people was like the dream team.
It must be a good experience recording and working with people that talented as well, giving you good advice and feedback as well, things that you can actually do.
And I think knowing them personally and having them have taught us, like in our classes coming up, they already know us personally and what we're about and our level of skill and that kind of thing. So it was a breeze to record. We recorded both Silver Lining and Time Won't Wait on the same sessions, and it was a dream.
Awesome. So what's next for In Ice? What's happening in 2020? What do you?
I'm manifesting into the world that we are in the studio in January.
To
do another single, which I'm hoping to put out hopefully March. If all things happen the way that they're happening in my head, it'll be March, April that'll come out, or late February, early March. I'm hoping to play so many more shows, because we haven't played a real In Ice show since 2017. So I'm like really excited to get back on stage, and I want to go on tour. I want to do an EP and I want to go on tour.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's hopefully the 12 months.
Well, there we
But who
go. There's
knows?
something to look forward to in 2020 as well. Could I
Yeah.
ask before we go? It's been a big year for music in 2019, especially here in
Yes.
Australia and abroad. But can I ask what was your biggest musical highlight for 2019?
Ooh, ooh, it's toughy.
Yeah.
Um, I, I cut there. Okay, I'll give you three.
Yeah. Cool. Good.
North Lane Alien. That like album of the year. Like that release, I think really changed the game for Australian heavy music. I think for heavy music in general, that really changed the game completely. And I'm glad it's getting some recognition from like ARIA and all that kind of stuff. It's it's an insanely good record. And I went and saw it live with Chris, my drummer, who'd never seen North Lane play live before, and it like blew his mind. So seeing that show live was amazing. I recently got into Slowly Slowly, and I am obsessed with them. I've seen them live 3 times in the last year. That's always a highlight, going to see them. And I'm obsessed with the 1975, and I saw them play their new record at River Stage, and it was like one of the best shows I've ever been to. So definitely those 3.
Awesome. Awesome. No worries. Rosie from In Eyes, thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with myself and with Crannk. Thank you very much.
That's all good.
I look forward to 2020, and I'll put all the pluggables up on the link as well, the links with the webpage and that. So
Awesome.
check it out.
Thank you.